Okay, let's make sure we are live before starting off. And we are live. Well, it's been a hot minute since we last recorded, but in a new place, lots changed in my life, but trying to make it more of a routine to post. This series, Code with Kev, this is going to be the first of many, I promise. This is going to be more so things that I learned in my life as a developer, both front end and back end. It's going to be around like 3, 5, 15-minute-ish snippets. Don't exactly know how long. This is going to be a pretty quick one, talking about CLS in this video, but just because it's the first one, that's primarily going to be the series, is small things that I've learned in my life that has helped me, whether it is with SEO on the front end or something with Node.js, a package that I am using that has a specific configuration that works really well. All that stuff will be covered in this video, and I will try my best to be as consistent as possible, even when different things in life get brought up, basically. So what is CLS here? So let's bring up these two pages here. Cumulative Layout Shift. And this video here directly from Google is a great example of it. You can see, just wait a second, when the individual, perfect. So we can see, here we go. Yes, place my order. Is this correct? No, go back. Oh no, something popped up and now the user clicked a button that they shouldn't have or that they did not want to. So cumulative layout shift is basically the sum of all the shifts that occur on a website, cumulative, and then the layout shifts is the shifting of the layout or the shifting of the elements on the page. And we'll be going over a great tool that allows you to visualize this in a step-by-step format when the DOM does initially load. But basically that's what it is. When a page loads up, how much is moving? How much of the elements are moving around? And throughout the user flow, whether they're checking out or wherever it is, we really don't want that number to be going up as the cumulative layout shift. We want to make it as low as possible. So in the Google PageSpeed Insights, if you don't know what this tool is, extremely useful. This is just a random website that I used to use from a while ago for selecting image hex codes or color codes. But basically, it gives you a breakdown of some simple SEO technical best practices that you should be following. We can see this website has failed, and the cumulative layout shift is close to the kind of danger red zone. It's currently in the yellow. We won't be talking about anything else, but once you get the handle of this, we'll be kind of diving into the other aspects of this kind of SEO focused tool here. So we can see it could be improved upon. So now that we have identified, like, is the website good for CLS, for cumulative layout shift, or is it bad? Kind of somewhere in the middle. This is kind of leaning towards the unfortunately bad side of things, but this is a great tool here on the right hand side to at least kind of uncover what this issue is. And before we do that, I'm not showing my screen. So let's do that. This is the screen share right here. So on the right hand side here, cumulative layout shift. Sorry about that. It's been a hot minute since I've went live, screen shared, whatever it is, at least in a recording setting. But this is the website here, PageSpeed Insights. On the right-hand side, the cumulative layout shift is what we were talking about. It's close to the danger zone near the red. It's currently in the yellow, kind of teetering on the red. But we really want to be in the green with the number here, the ratio being as low as possible. So now that you can see my actual screen here, let's go over what this looks like in practice to see the cumulative layout shift occur over time as the DOM loads. And this is the tool that I find extremely helpful to understand what's moving, what is making that cumulative layout shift number increase, right? And we want to decrease it. So what's happening? And at the end of the video, we'll go over ways that we can reduce CLS and find ways that we can kind of curb that issue from really occurring, which then is a negative impact on our SEO. So we identified what it is, how we determine the CLS value is for our website, or it could be an app, but in this case it's going to be a website. And then the next thing is going to be how to actually identify what the issue is that is causing the CLS number to go so high. So this is a random website. Let's open it up with DevTools, Control-Shift-I on Windows. And then to get to the tool that allows us to visualize this, we can click these three little dots, more tools, and inside more tools, we'll go to Performance Insights. And this Performance Insights will give us everything that we need here. Once we click on this red button, it'll start recording. I think we may have to refresh the page, but if we don't, it'll automatically refresh. And this is a great tool because it gives you an overview of all the things that are loading, when they are loading, as well as CLS, just to name a few. Extremely useful tool, Performance Insights. I highly recommend just checking it out, playing around with it, and seeing what kind of information it provides you. So you can tell, very targeted ads here. The first thing that we'll do here is click on Start Recording, and then because it didn't automatically reload the page, we're just going to reload the page so then it's getting the DOM loading, because it's going to record the information and it's going to record whatever's on the DOM. So you don't have to have the on load be what it's recording and providing you. You could have the page loading, you could be midway in a customer journey on a web page. You don't even need to be going to a different URL. It will record whatever is on your screen, and then it will present that to you once you pause it. So I'll pause it here because basically the rendering of the DOM is complete for the most part. But yeah, it doesn't have to be DOM load in terms of what you are performing this analysis on. It can be midway through a customer journey. And this will load and it will present a ton of information. It might look a little bit confusing, but don't want to break down every aspect of it, but just kind of the major things that will give you a grasp of how we can read this here. And this is taking a hot minute, retrieving data of 0%. Kind of sus, gonna be honest. What I might do is try again. If this is not, let's try again, because that was kind of weird. So let's close off this for now. Let's do a quick refresh, because that's always a good thing. We will click on the three dots into more tools, into Performance Insights, and we'll click on this one, measure page load. Basically the same thing as this and clicking the refresh, but this is basically instant. Oh boy, wow. I don't think it's my internet, but not gonna not discount that. Okay, well that is slowly going faster. And here, hopefully we'll get more than 0%. If not, might be a short video. But the thing with videos is if I don't think it's up to quality, I just won't post it. But then if I give myself a schedule to post every day and it takes multiple posts to post one, it's unsustainable. So I think the big thing for me is just, even if things don't go perfect or things take longer, just post it. Who cares? Obviously there's going to be some care into it, but you kind of get what I mean. Being a perfectionist is not always a good thing. Actually, it's probably not a good thing almost ever. Some aspects extremely important to be meticulous, but so this is all the network stuff. This shows you when things are loading. I'm sure some of the places are from advertisers and marketers just because there's so many pop-up ads there. But it's pretty cool. It shows you when things are loading. JS1 is going to be a key one to keep an eye on. But if something's taking a really long time to load, that could be something that could be hitting you in terms of the page load speed. Not going to be talking about that because this is specifically to do with CLS. But yeah, some pretty cool information there. It's a big old list of things that you can check out. So this is going to be the CLS layout shift section that we're going to be focusing on here on the top section. So every single time we see this little screenshot, it's basically taking a screenshot and showing you what's moving. Really cool and extremely useful for CLS issues. So this is the first one that we see, and take note of the picture on the bottom right hand corner here. So we can use the left and right arrows on our keypad to go either further along the DOM load or earlier on. This is the closest we can get to the DOM load. So let's say 4,000 milliseconds is the first CLS issue that we can see. And this is basically the entire color picker tool loading on the page. This whole purple thing right here, that's what loaded onto the page, which is the color picker, right? And we can see this is the cumulative score, and this is the current score. So the current score before this, from 0 seconds to 4,000 milliseconds, is 0. And when this occurred, the current score added to the cumulative score. The current score being 0.012, the cumulative score being 0 plus 0.012 equals cumulative score of 0.012. So we want this number to be as low as possible, and anytime this number is big, impacting the cumulative, that is the point where we really have to focus and say, how do we solve this issue? How do we stop the entire layout from shifting? Because lot of shifts does not help with SEO. It negatively impacts your SEO score from search engines. So this is the first thing that loads. Makes sense. Second thing that loads, nothing really notable. And not much of an increase in the cumulative score from like 0.12 to 0.18. So not huge. And we can see this little thing here. That popped up, but current score, very, very little. Not really something that I need to kind of take a deeper look into. Current score here, kind of a small little button thingy that popped up there. That's decently sized here. That's going to be a banner ad on the right-hand side. And we can see the total score is still increasing. Same thing. Another pop-up on the left-hand side. And here's a really big score, current score of 0.044. So a pretty large CLS issue there. And then another one here. So you can see it is really helping you along, and that's the last one. And it's really helping you along, showing you exactly what's popping up, what the score is. So if you have a really large score, you can then say, oh, right here, and then you can really dive into the granular details of it. There's a way to zoom in here. I think, there we go. And then you got to go like this. But basically, if you really wanted to, you can break it down into very, very detailed overviews. Oops. Let's move it this way. There we go. I'm looking for that. No. Is it just not allowing me to? I have to do it this way? Okay. There we go. But yeah, each one of these, you can see the score increase substantially. So looking at that and saying, okay, there's this big thing here that is shifting. Now, what I found extremely useful, it's a little bit harder if you have dynamic elements that change in size, but I found setting minimum widths and heights for empty boxes while the content is still loading to be extremely helpful. Like for example, for the header, for one of the websites that I was helping out, the logo was taking a little bit longer to load, and while the logo was loading, the header was a little bit smaller. And then once the logo loaded in, the logo was actually larger, so then it made the entire header kind of push down. And that was a major issue with the CLS. So what I did is I set the minimum height and width with some media screen and max width of whatever percentage or pixels for mobile the entire website shifts on. Regardless of that, that ability to set a minimum height on the logo allowed me to basically keep the header exactly the same height when the image was not there to being there. And that cumulative layout shift would be a score of 0 because nothing is changing in terms of the layout. It's just going from an empty box to a box that has an image inside it that is not changing the size in terms of pixels for height. So that's, in my opinion, one of the ways that I found it to be extremely helpful. If you know of a better way, I would love to hear it. But yeah, it's not as dynamic as I'd like to be, but with a couple more lines of code, using some simple CSS, it allows you to really be able to get that exact size you're looking for depending on the screen size while significantly reducing the CLS on the page. So that's going to be the overview of this video. Hopefully it was useful. A lot of the other videos that we'll be going over will be very similar. They're going to be kind of, what's the issue? How do you identify the issue on the website? and then how do you resolve it? Kind of those steps there. So that's going to be the video. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you have any things that you'd love to go over, I really specialize in web scraping and front end. I do like back end. Web scraping is heavily back end, but connecting something to the front end, to the back end to scrape, to return back to the customer or client, absolutely love. Some more full stack projects would be pretty cool, but that is all up in the air in the future. You want to keep this super light so it's really easy, not much for me to tackle. So it's just making me kind of, the end of the day, think of one thing that I learned and try to present that to people to make their developing experience just a smidge easier. So thank you for tuning in, and until next time, take care.